algorithms and flowcharts. And in that, we will be looking at the definitions and the explanations. But for the examples, we will skip it for our next lesson. So this one is going to be the part 1. Then the part 2 will be our next lesson. So we are today, we are going to look at only the definition and explanation for the sake of time, so that I will not waste your time. Next time when we meet, we shall be looking at the various examples. So today we are going to talk about what we use in our day-to-day life, but we don't know. So we are looking at algorithms. What are algorithms? Algorithm is the step-by-step solution of any given problem at all. Is algorithm, the step-by-step solution of any given problem. So suppose if you need anything, like you need an item, like going to the you decide to go to the market to buy items. You know, you have to plan on the items you need to buy. And in planning, you follow certain steps before you plan. You can even take a note, a paper and a pen, and plan on the items you buy. Then you buy them based on steps. That's what you are going to do. So as you are planning, it means you are planning your algorithms. So algorithms, in planning your algorithm, you always begin with start and end. After the start of the planning of the algorithm, then you end it. That's what you're going to do. So the step-by-step solution of any given problem is known as algorithm. That's what we are looking at. So example, suppose you want to go to the market to buy grocery. Then the algorithm for the same can be as follows. First, step 1, start. That is what you prepare your mind to buy the items. Step 2, get ready and take money and bags. The ladies, I hope you know, you normally keep your monies in your bags. We men, we keep our monies in our pocket. Then you go to the market. Then step 4, you find the groceries to buy if they are there. Then step 5, after finding them, you pay the bill. Then step 6, you take back the groceries to home. After taking them home, you stop, meaning you've completed your mission. This is an example of algorithms, and this is how we are going to plan our algorithm. So algorithms always begin with start and end. You can bring this begin and end instead of start and stop. So it can be begin at the same time end. But there should always be, the first step should always be start or begin. Then the last step should always be stop or end. That is how we plan our algorithm. And in your day-to-day activities, you do it. You will start. Even if you are about to go to the market, you have to start. Then when you are coming back, you end. Even in movie, we have start and end. That is the algorithm. Now, we are going to look at what the advantage, the reason why we have to write algorithms. Why do you have to prepare your items before you go to the market? Somebody will say, I will forget it. I will easily forget it. Yes, it's true. So what are the advantages of writing algorithms? Now let's look at it. I will have asked you, but it is because we are doing this presentation. That's why I'm displaying it to you. For the advantages of writing algorithms, when we divide the solution into steps, it becomes easy for the reader to understand the process. So with the help of algorithm, we can make it easy to write solutions of bigger problems and questions. So even in class, before we begin with our lesson, we start by giving you the objectives of the lesson. By the end of the lesson, what you have to achieve. And at the end, we ask questions. So that is why in your everyday to-day activity, you have to plan the algorithm. It allows you to what? For the readers to understand the process so that they can help them to make easy to write solutions for bigger problems or of bigger problems and questions. Let's move on. Now, flowchart. What is a flowchart? Flowchart. When we say flowchart, what do you understand by the term flow? Flowchart is the diagrammatic representation of any algorithms. Flowchart is the diagram. Now, why is it, you people, I want to ask you a question. Watching a movie and reading a book, which one do you prefer? You people normally prefer watching a movie instead of reading a book. Watching a movie based on the same content of the story and reading the same story in a book, you prefer. Even in class, when a teacher comes to you and he's teaching, you normally want him to display some images in the form of video so that you can understand the topic well. That is why there is a need for a flowchart. There should be a diagram of any representation of algorithm. So in planning our algorithm, after writing the test, we will have to plan a diagram, and in be representing it in the diagrammatic representation, that is what we normally refer to as a flow chart. So the diagrammatic representation of any algorithm is a flow chart. So please, you have to know the difference between algorithms and flow chart. It can come in your exams. Okay, let's move on. Why flow chart? If you convert the algorithms into steps, it becomes easy for anyone to understand the steps in a graphical representation. And students used to say the graphical representation is better than textual representation. I like textual representation, but you people normally, because you want to see it feeling. That is why you normally like watching everything in the form of movie. So that is why in preparing our algorithms, we use flowchart to prepare the algorithm so that you can see it clearly. The flowchart will display the diagrammatic representations of the various algorithms. Now, let us look at the various diagrams that we use in preparing a flowchart, so that in our next item or in our next lesson, we'll be looking at the various examples of algorithms and flowchart. Now, the first diagram you see is the start and stop diagram. Somebody say, what is the name of this diagram? We call it ellipse. The start and stop diagram. That one is what we use when we want to begin in preparing our flowchart. Now, the next one is what? The parallelogram, which is there for the input and output. This one, the parallelogram, it is there for the input and output. So the input and output is where you prepare the items you want to buy, the items you need. And in mathematics, that's where you gather the numbers you're going to use in solving the problem. So in computer, that is where you analyze the data you're going to input into the computer. Then, after inputting the data, you know, in the information processing cycle, the next item is processing. So the next item you see here, the next diagram, which is the rectangle, is meant for processing. So I can easily draw this and ask you that the parallelogram is used for what? Input and output. Then this particular diagram is used for what? Processing and formula. So input, if it is in the form of numbers, we have 3 and 4. When it comes to the processing, you add 3 and 4. Then after getting the 3 and 4, what is the decision? The decision is where you use this diagram to represent it. And what is the name of this diagram? Rhombus or dimension. And that one is used for condition or decision. It is a condition and decision box. So after getting these 4 items, you need this one. And this one is called the on-page connector and the off-page connector. When it comes to the examples, you will get to know the use of the on-page connector and the off-page connector. And these are the arrows. We have the direction arrows and the flow arrows. So in our next lesson, we shall be looking at the examples of these diagrams, how we can use the various algorithms to prepare this flowchart using this particular diagram. So I want you to study these diagrams, write them in your notebooks, learn them, because I can draw the diagram and ask you that what is its uses when it comes to a flowchart representation. So thank you very much. This comes to the end of our lesson, and it is nobody than Mr. Evans. Thank you. God blesses you. God bless you.